Hello students, welcome to the second part of the topic sexual reproduction. In this subtopic, we are going to learn about sexual reproduction, specifically in animals. For this lesson, we will be focusing on a few selected groups of animals. Now, can you describe the reproduction process in animals? Can you tell whether it is part of their mating behavior? Do they get to choose their mate? And if yes, do they put any effort to attract them? Maybe some fierce competition among the males or females. And after all that efforts, how does the fertilization happen? After this lesson, you should be able to differentiate between internal and external fertilization. Next, you should also be able to differentiate the three types of embryos development. Some of the unique and interesting courtship behavior of a few animals will also be highlighted in this topic. Fertilization in animals can be categorized into two, which are internal or external. After the fertilization, embryos are produced, and the development is either one of these three categories: Ovo Parity, Vivi Parity, and Ovo Vv Parity. Let us look at the differences between the internal and external fertilization first. To be able to distinguish these two types of fertilization, we need to observe or make sure where does the sperm and egg cells unite. If the gametes fuse together outside of the female's body, it is regarded as external fertilization. As long as it is outside, doesn't matter where specifically, this is external fertilization. For example, frog. On the other hand, if the gametes are deposited in or near the reproductive tract and the union, this is the important process, happens within the female's body, it is an internal fertilization. Easy example here is humans. So the key here is to make sure where does the union of sperm and egg cells, whether it is inside or outside of the female's body. Animals which undergo external fertilization usually rely on the environmental cues and body chemicals in order to ensure the success of fertilization. Since the union of gametes takes place outside of the female's body, it is crucial to make sure that both sperm and egg cells are released at the same time and in the same place. Therefore, to make this happen, animals in this category would need to notify or send signals to the other receptive mate, such as by releasing pheromones. Once both male and female are in the same place and at the same time, eggs and sperms are released out. In contrast, animals with internal fertilization requires complementary mating behavior and reproductive organs to guarantee fertilization. To make sure the sperms are deposited inside the female's reproductive tract, certain complementary behavior, for example, mating position, is required for both partners. This also requires reproductive organs such as penis to transfer the sperm into the female's body. Next, animals with external fertilization usually release a lot of gametes. Again, this is to ensure fertilization to happen, as this takes place outside of the female's body. To make sure there is higher chance of fertilization, high abundance of gametes is needed. Meanwhile, low number of gametes are observed in animals with internal fertilization. After fertilization, zygotes are formed. In external fertilization, since there are many gametes released, there is also high chance to have massive zygotes, while in internal fertilization, there will be only few zygotes. Remember, these zygotes are developing inside of the female's body, so it would be logical to only have a few zygotes. Parental care is when one or both parents take care of their young ones or babies. This is rarely observed in animals that undergo external fertilization, for example, frogs. Most of the frogs usually leave after the mating process. Abandoned eggs or babies will need to survive on their own. However, in certain few species of frogs, they do show parental care. Such care includes guarding the eggs or even carrying the tadpoles on their back to protect them. On the other hand, parental care is usually observed in animals with internal fertilization. They do take care of their young ones. For examples here, a female salamander coiling around her nest to protect her eggs. Another example of parental care is in mammals and in aves or birds. Alright, now that's about it for external and internal fertilization. So after the fertilization, zygote and then embryo develops. This development is either one of these three types of embryonic development. The first one is Ovo Parity. Ovo Parity is a development that involves laying eggs. Sperm and egg cells may unite in or outside of the female's body. Once fertilization happens, the zygote and then embryo will develop inside of the eggs. Yolk in the egg will provide nutrients to the developing embryo. Once it reaches certain time, the eggs will be expelled out from the female's body. Egg will continue to develop outside of the female's body, and then as it reaches maturity, the eggs will hatch and the babies will come out. The keywords here are laying eggs and yolk. Examples of oviparous animals are birds and certain species of snakes. Second type of embryonic development is Vivi Parity. This one involves live birth. Embryo's development is inside of the female's body, and thus Vivi Parity is only for animals with internal fertilization. The embryo rely on the placenta to transport nutrients and oxygen from the mother. Once the embryo is fully developed, the mother will give birth. The keywords here are live birth and placenta. Examples of viviparous animals are cats and certain species of snakes. The last one is Ovo Vv Parity. This unique development of embryo involves both eggs and giving birth. Fertilization is only through internal, and then embryo will develop inside of the eggs, and the eggs are inside of the female's body. Embryos rely on the egg's yolk for nutrients. After the embryos are fully developed, eggs will be hatched inside of the female's body, and the female will give birth. The keywords here are eggs, live birth, and yolk. Example of Ovo Vv parous animals are Portuguese sharks. Okay, we have wrapped up the two types of fertilization and the three types of embryonic development. Now let's go to the next part of this topic, part B, to see sexual reproduction in each of the selected animal groups. See you!